It's Division Series playoff weekend. Let's step into the huddle.
You're listening to the PreSnap Podcast, brought to you by LineStar app, the top-rated DFS tool set and #1 companion for DraftKings, FanDuel, and Yahoo Daily Fantasy. Go LineStar Premium now at LineStarApp.com. Now here are your hosts, fantasy football experts Joe Pisapia and Scott Bogman.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and welcome to the PreSnap right here on the LineStar app. It is me, it is Scott Bogman, and it's you. We've got one big, massive, huge football weekend left, and we are going to get after it today, talking all things DFS, courtesy of the LineStar app, the greatest DFS tool site in the history of the universe. Go get it right now, upgrade to the premium product, and then it will change your life. That's right. It'll take care of dinner for the kids. It'll take the trash out, the recycling, everything. It's going to do all of those things for you, and it's going to win you some cash. And while you're at it, make sure you subscribe to the PreSnap, because if you've been listening and you didn't subscribe, then how would you know we come back next year? And by the way, the On Deck show for Major League Baseball just around the corner as well. So there's lots of great stuff going on in LineStar. Bogman, now that the Steelers are out of it, the Patriots are out of it, we could just laser focus, right? We're just laser focused here on these last few games. And I got to tell you, I mean, this is a pretty good slate as well. I feel like this is going to be a really fun collective playoffs, and I'm enjoying NFL, and it's a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still mad, but I can't not watch the football. Like I know some people, once their team is eliminated, they're just done. They put it away and they only watch the Super Bowl. I just don't have that in me. Like I have to watch the football even after my team loses and I'm sad. Specifically to see how many points the Chiefs beat the Browns
by. All right, well, let's kick things off here with Aaron Rodgers at home, the Green Bay Packers against the Los Angeles Rams. And I mean, I already said my piece on the Rams, so I don't get too much about this. So let's talk about the defense of the Rams against the offense of the Green Bay Packers, because that is really what this is all about. So when we start to discuss this, before even getting to player salaries, is this a game that you're hot on? Because I'm sure there's a sentiment out there that you would look at it and say, well, Aaron Donald is banged up, but Jalen Ramsey's played great. If anybody's up to the task with Davante Adams, it's Ramsey. If anybody's up to the task in the big moments, Aaron Donald. I'm kind of concerned about the offense of the Los Angeles Rams and how that travels. However, they certainly played well on the line. They certainly ran the football. So do you think that this game offers you the DFS quality that you're looking for? Are you willing to go take an Aaron Rodgers, let's say, and take an Adams together and kind of buck the trend? Because Ramsey's been spectacular. In fact, Ramsey is the lowest wide receiver total yards against this entire season.
Yeah, Ramsey is a great corner. There's no doubting that. I mean, there's plenty of corners that talk a bunch of smack and do not back it up. He is absolutely not one of them. He backs it all the way up. I think there's too many other good options at quarterback, though, that for me to be reaching on Aaron Rodgers this week. So I don't think I'm going to be investing in Aaron Rodgers too much. Look, no one, and Ramsey is great. He's not stopping Davante Adams.
Well, if that's the case, is that a separate? Like, let's say, is that a good chalk separator? Because and look, I'm asking the question because it's something I'm debating and thinking about, and I think it's always good to talk these things out, and that's what we try to do here on the show. We're always talking them out. To me, I look at it; it's very expensive for Rodgers and Adams. Adams is 86 and 9K on FanDuel. Rodgers is 69.84. Of course, they're top of the board. They've played like it all year. So if you believe that nobody can stop Adams, then why stop now? And I think if you want to be contrarian in the tournament, this is how you do it.
Yeah. Tournament play, I like Davante Adams, but he's still extremely expensive. 8,600 on DK, 9,000 on FanDuel. If I'm gonna pay up for a wide receiver this week, it's not gonna be Adams. I get it, but I would rather I think that Tyreek Hill is so much safer going up against the Browns. So I think I would rather go with Tyreek than I would go with Davante Adams. But, I understand it. And in no world am I going to tell people to not take Davante Adams because he's going up against Jalen Ramsey. It's just not going to happen. Adams can beat anyone, and he'll beat Ramsey. It's just all about, is Rodgers on point? Is he getting the ball to him enough? Are they going to double him up? So this should be a more difficult week for Adams, but I think your minimum line is 80 and a score. That's just your minimum Devontae Adams line from this year and moving forward right now, which is great. It's a nice floor. It doesn't equal what you pay for him.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's a little
nice
shy
floor
of the 3x you're looking for, but the 3x potential's there, and the rostership could be low because of the price being high. So obviously it sounds like a cash game play, but really because of the matchup, I think it has a little bit more tournament appeal because I think it's just tougher to make work. Of course, those dart throws at the other wide receivers, but I'm not throwing those darts. I don't care. Like if you're somebody who plays a ton of lineups, you want to do an MVS lineup, whatever. But I will say this before we move off the Packers, Robert Tonyan at 42, especially on DraftKings, I think is a great play. 62 on FanDuel, still pretty good, but on DK specifically, that is a very cost-effective tight end on a weekend where tight end play is, questionable at times. I mean, you got to go up to the top of the board for Kelsey, and if not, like you're trying to what? Hope for the best with a Hooper touchdown. You're hoping for the best with, Dawson Knox. I mean, it's not the greatest scenario. On the flip side.
Real quick, do you like buying the Packers defense better than any other defense this week because of Jared Goff and the injury and all that stuff? Or is there another defense price-wise that you like better?
So far, I actually think that it's pretty good. Like I actually think the Packers one's a pretty good investment because, and it's not just because of the Goff injury, it's because of the Goff turnover ratio lately. Goff turnover ratio has been insane. I mean, people kind of forget that because they're talking about the injury and they talk about the loss to the Jets and all the other embarrassing moments. But
I've been watching Roethlisberger, so
well, you were doing
nothing is a crazy turnover ratio until you watch him.
This is absolutely true. But yeah, I think the Packers are definitely in play this week. Again, expensive. What's cheap is Cam Akers. He's 5,700 and 7K. Now that was a terrific showing last week. I think this has got to be their playbook right now. I think Cam Akers is up to the task. Wentworth played tremendous in that game. Amazing to get him healthy. What a difference he makes on that line. I don't know if he's going to come back and play next year or not. But look, Woods is 59 and 66. It's Woods and Akers for me. Those are the only two pieces that I can justify because those are the pieces I feel good about. And I actually kind of like Akers this week because although, there's downside here because he's had some huge games and then some quiet ones, it's more to the point of necessity for me. So I think Akers is a necessity. If the Rams are going to win this game, Boggs, to me, is running the football and playing defense.
That's absolutely correct, but I don't think they win this game. So I like Cam Akers. He's a decent buy this week at 5,700 and 7,000. But I don't see him as a necessary buy. Honestly, I think I still like Robert Woods is my favorite Ram. I think he's fairly cheap, 5,900, 6,600. And I expect the Rams to be down in this game and having to play comeback. So I think that Robert Woods could be another decent buy again this week. And Cooper Kupp has some injury stuff too. So I think they're going to rely on Woods a bunch.
All right, let's move on to the night game here. My two favorite hot teams coming in, Baltimore and Buffalo. And look, I wanted this like AFC Championship game. I wanted to wait a little longer for this one, but here we are. We're here. It's happening. So we have to start talking about it now. Baltimore defense has played great. I'm concerned, though, with Baltimore about a letdown because I think they had a lot of juice for this Titans game. They did not like the Titans. They wanted revenge on the Titans. The Titans beat them earlier in the year and all the things going on. There's a lot of vitriol, a lot of issues, a lot of emotions in this game. And now you got to go to Buffalo. And I think Buffalo is a more complete team just across the board. And Josh Allen's playing fantastic football. If Baltimore's going to win this game, they have to bring them down to their level. They have to slow the game down, grind it out. And that means it's going to be a lot of J.K. Dobbins at 6K and 65 and a lot of Lamar run the football again, like last week, like we talked about. Now, the difference here is this secondary likes to hit people. So Lamar needs to watch himself a little bit because this is a very physical group. And, those guys like Hyde and Poyer, like you better slide because those guys are going to be coming at you. So how do you, as we start to assess this game, what's your take on this contest first from game script is overrated. I like to say game plan because I feel like if you are thinking like a football coach, right, then that should lead you in the right direction to fantasy. If you're saying, all right, if I'm the Ravens, I got to keep the ball in Josh Allen's hands. I've got to really grind things out, do what I did last week, take it over. And then honestly, like Marquise Brown is not up to the task with these guys. And if anything, I would follow the same blueprint that Philip Rivers had, and I would use a ton of the tight ends this week. And I would go to Mark Andrews and rely heavily on him. So Andrews and J.K. Dobbins and Jackson are the pieces here that I am most interested in.
Yeah, and the games that the games that Buffalo loses are running games. Their last loss of the year was to the Cardinals, 32-30. They lost that game. That was obviously the Hail Murray game. But Drake ran for 100, Edmonds ran for 56, Murray ran for 51. In the Chiefs loss, they got carved up by Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That was his huge game. He had 161 rushing yards. Mahomes had 36. Darrell Williams had 26. Darwin Thompson chipped in 17 at the end. So they give up a ton of rushing yards. I think Baltimore matches up really well against Buffalo in this game. So I am, as far as a game script goes, it's exactly what you just said, Joe. It is, we need to keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands, not let him get hot, not let him get streaky, and build that confidence. So run the ball. And there might be snow in this game. It's a possibility. That would be Lamar Jackson's.
It's Buffalo in January. There's a possibility of snow every 5 seconds.
Of course. But Lamar's never played in the snow before. Now, we've seen that, to me, that you've never seen snow. You can't handle it at all. Went out the window when I saw Mike Vick just tear up the Packers in Green Bay.
It's funny you say that because that's the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, if anything, if I see snow, it makes me like Lamar more because it is very difficult to handle anybody who's got moves like Lamar's got with the moves and the speed where he's already got the football and the footing is different. Like that is a big problem. So if anything,
has been rolling downhill too, man. Like,
yeah, man. 7 touchdowns in 6 weeks, 8 touchdowns in 7 weeks, some crazy thing like that. He's got.
Andrews has looked better. Marquise Brown has looked way better.
But I don't like him against these corners. These corners don't make the mistakes that the Titans make and some other teams make.
Buffalo looked beatable last week too. I think that's the biggest thing that I took away from last week. You thought it's a wake up call for Buffalo, like a scare, like okay, now let's come prepared for this week. And this is my favorite game of the week, by the way. And I'm willing to buy both sides of this for sure. But I really do like Baltimore in this game, so I'm going to be more on the Ravens players than I am on the Bills.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be more Ravens than Bills too, and it's not because I think the Ravens are going to win this game. It's just because I think they're the good ratio of being able to target why and who. Josh Allen's 88 and 74. When you're looking at the price by comparison, Lamar Jackson's 76 and 8. I mean, who's to say that Lamar Jackson, the $800 savings, especially if the weather is crappy, is not equal to him points wise. I mean, look, Josh Allen's playing out of his mind. Like just completely out of his mind. And I'm not saying you can't pay up for Josh Allen. Of course you can.
They just shut down Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, though. That's a tall task.
They did, but again, that is such a specific situation that I'm just a little concerned. It's more
specific, but Tannehill and Josh Allen are similar skill sets.
They are similar.
Allen is better.
Allen's much better.
Yeah,
right
he
now.
Is, especially right now.
Can they stop Diggs? Because that's the problem. You look up at Diggs, and every single week, he's the only a wide receiver to have 4 catches in every single game this year besides Robbie Anderson. So those 2 guys. And most of the time you look up in the line, like we said the other day, it's like 7 for 101 and a touchdown, 9 for 99 and 2 touchdowns. Nobody seems to be able to stop this guy. Or I don't understand. It's like, I understand Cole Beasley.
They set him up for success. This is what we were talking about yesterday.
It's stunning.
It's stunning that we didn't see Minnesota do it. I think that's really the stunning thing is that they mishandled this guy so much. They were so confident in Thielen and Dalvin Cook that they didn't properly utilize Stephon Diggs. So it's weird to think that he got so much better going to a different offense where he can be the main guy because not a lot of people saw this coming. So Diggs is going to get his. That's why I said I'm willing to buy from both sides of this game. But I'm absolutely with you as far as quarterback goes. If you're going to buy one of these two, I'm buying Lamar, and it's not close. So
yeah, look, the Allen and Diggs connection has been so good. So if you're going to have Allen, you have to have Diggs. And it's just you're crazy not to. If this is the one game where it doesn't happen, so be it. But I would say that Allen and Diggs is more crucial than Rodgers and Devontae Adams, to be honest with you. Like, and I know we didn't even talk about Aaron Jones in that game, but I'm just, I don't know, that front of the Rams is just terrifying. So
yeah, the Rams are pretty good at stopping.
Yeah, so I didn't even want to get into that. But would you agree, like in terms of one-offs versus pairing, like the Josh Allen Diggs pairing is probably the most necessary. I think if you're going to have Allen, you have to have Diggs. It's just been all year. If it's wrong, it's wrong. But at least you go down with the ship because it's just been money all season.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather stack Lamar and Marquise though, and I know you're absolutely not with that.
Lamar and Andrews, yes, because that's the deficiency. The deficiency with the Buffalo Bills is that the corner play is so good, the safety play is so good that you can beat them over the middle a little bit. You can be aggressive with the tight ends over the middle. And if Jack Doyle can have a day like that, certainly Mark Andrews can. So, it's not something that you're going to fix overnight because it's just the nature of the team. It's where the talent lies. The talent lies in the latter part of the defense, as opposed, not that Chase Edmonds isn't good, but they use him in different ways. It's not always like he's not always out there in the middle of the field guarding the tight end. So
I think Zach Moss is a big loss for Buffalo.
Yeah, too. Take me through that. With Singletary having the backfield to himself, does that matter to you at all against Baltimore?
It does. It does for me. I especially at the goal line. I mean, they have made Zach Moss their goal line back for a reason.
He's 45 on DK and 57 on FanDuel.
Yeah. Singletary is a decent price, but I think they lose a little bit. Overall, I am not the biggest Singletary fan. He's not going to have many explosive plays, and he hasn't. Maybe they set him up for success behind Stephon Diggs a little bit, with Diggs taking two defenders away, maybe you sneak Singletary back out there. So maybe he can have a nice day receiving. I'm not very excited about Devin Singletary moving forward. So he's not going to be a buy for me many weeks, although this is, if Buffalo moves on, he's going to be way more expensive next week. So this is the week to buy him if you are looking for a cheap guy, because he should get the majority of the carries. I'm just not a big Devin Singletary fan. So I think they're going to rely on Diggs a little bit too much possibly in this game. And Baltimore is going to know that. And what did they do last week? They shut down Derrick Henry. This week it shut down Stephon Diggs. And that's how you beat Buffalo, is you have to stop their best weapon.
All right, let's move on to the next day here. We got Cleveland and Kansas City. Obviously, the margin, this one's big. The number went up to a full point in the last 24 hours. That's interesting, I think, to keep an eye on. Look, the Browns played out of their mind. I know this is a touchy subject with you. So let's start with something fun. Let's start with Kareem Hunt, because Kareem Hunt is just 4,800. Kareem Hunt is 62 on FanDuel, 48 on DK. And he seems to have a little chip on his shoulder here. And you know what? I kind of want to, I think the Chubb and Hunt show travels here, because Kansas City, they haven't covered a whole lot. And Kansas City's having some issues here, I think, defensively, that they did not have last year. They're playing very well defensively, very opportunistic. They're not doing the same. Now, look, maybe that week off did very well. And certainly Andy Reid after a bye is one of those things you can kind of set your watch to. But I guess that doesn't matter here because we're talking about DFS. So in your opinion, would you do Chubb and Hunt, or one or the other? And if so, which one?
I mean, it's going to be Hunt this week. And it's because they want, I think a smart team wants a guy to get his revenge game and enjoy it and all that stuff. So if I'm going to buy one of those backs, and Kansas City didn't do a great job against the run either, by the way, they 21st, giving up 122 yards per game, much better against the pass at 236.2 yards. So this game kind of fits, like Cleveland matches up well offensively versus Kansas City's defense. So they could keep pace for a little bit. Patrick Mahomes is going to score, and he's going to put up points against Cleveland. And then you're going to have to move a little bit away from the run game to the passing game. And that when you're asking Baker to make more than, 25 attempts a game, 30 attempts a game, you're begging for trouble, I feel like. Now, once again, I'm not trying to insult Baker here. Just beat my Steelers. He did a great job, threw 3 touchdowns. So he did fantastic in that game. It's just tougher to keep that window up when you're down instead of when you're up. And if they get down, Baker Mayfield tends to make some mistakes. So I'm not going to invest too much into Cleveland's offense as a whole. But if you're buying someone from this offense, it's Chubb or Hunt, and because of Hunt's price and him scoring the 2 touchdowns, and this being a revenge game narrative, and Cleveland knowing about it, I think Hunt is the guy I want to buy between the two. Although Chubb is obviously the better back.
Chubb's the better back, but I think I take the discount and the upside. On a day like
I like Jarvis Landry too. The Browns should be down.
The tough part is a weekend like this. You got Brady, you got Breeze, you got Rodgers, you got 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Yeah. Mahomes on his way, Josh Allen playing like an MVP, and Lamar Jackson. I mean, it's tough. You need saving somewhere. So there's a place where you could kind of hedge a little bit and cheap out a little bit and go with Kareem Hunt and save a little bit of money and put that towards the quarterback, because I think you're going to need that at some point. All right, the other side of this game, obviously Mahomes, and they're very expensive, 92 and 8K respectively. And look, Tyreek Hill, 8K for him. I would say that the difference now is, like, as good as Mahomes and Hill have been this year, I still stand by my statement that the must duo of the week is, if you're going to play Josh Allen, you have to play Diggs. If you're playing Mahomes, you can do different things. You can go with Hill. You can go with Kelsey if that's what you want to do. You have options, or you can just run Mahomes out by himself, which we are one to do many, many times here on this program. So how do you approach the Chiefs offense this weekend?
Stack
it all. Okay, so take me through it. So you're going to pay for the big 3 and then cheap out everywhere else?
Kelsey is a little expensive, so I'll take Kelsey though, and find a way to get cheap in other spots. But I really like
stack though, because are you taking dart throws at Sammy Watkins and Robinson and those guys, or is it just Tyreek and Mahomes for you? Because if you're not going to do Kelsey too, then I'm not screwing around with any of these running backs. I'm sorry, not doing it.
Yeah, that's very true. Especially if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is healthy, which he might get healthy in time for this game on Sunday. So we'll see. That throws a whole big wrench in there. But my favorite duo combo is definitely Tyreek and Mahomes this week. So I'm more than fine with throwing Lamar out there if you don't want to stack in one game, since there's only 4, and if it doesn't work out, or if Kansas City starts out slow or whatever, and it's not going to work, I get not wanting to stack them. I think that the best stack is with Kelsey, but I understand not wanting to pay up at tight end and taking a cheap one. So I get that, but for the most part, my stack is going to be Mahomes, Hill, and Kelsey. So Bell, if Clyde Edwards-Helaire isn't playing, I don't mind Bell either. I don't think he's going to do a ton, but he could get in the end zone a couple times and no one would be shocked. So and that's the thing about the playoffs too. It's foot on gas. There's no relenting. There's no pulling up unless you're up an enormous amount of points. So this should be foot on gas, especially after seeing how many points Cleveland put up against Pittsburgh last week. Kansas City should be firing on all cylinders, getting that break too. So I'm excited to see it.
All right, let's go to the big boys here. Who we got? We got Drew Brees. We got Tom Brady. I don't know if you've heard of them. Have you seen the History Channel meme with the both of them?
Yes,
it's very funny.
That's great. Yeah, that's a
I love
good
it.
one.
Big fan. Was that playing before, or is this new for this game? Because I don't feel like I've ever seen that before, and they played each other twice already. And how did we all miss it?
I didn't see it before, so It was the first time I saw it.
I love it. It's hysterical. Well done. Internet once again undefeated. Look, Michael Thomas 6,700 last week. What was he? 6,800 over on DK. Oh no, I'm sorry. He was 68 on FanDuel. He's 72 this week. Pardon me. 67 on DK. So. Still tempting you. Tempting you. I think I would buy too. You were dead on last week. He's going to score a
touchdown again this week. And it's just, it's honestly to make the people that drafted him, like your boy here, lament it a little bit more, because he scored no touchdowns in the regular season, and he's going to put up these touchdowns in the postseason. So yeah, man, it's obnoxious for sure, but I got Michael Thomas scoring again, so I would absolutely buy him.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Now, that being said, Kamara 79 and 9K, very expensive. Is this where you're going here? Because Kamara is not the normal sort of back. He's had some big games against Tampa. Again, hard to run the ball against Tampa, but very easy to throw the ball to running backs against Tampa. is this the guy worth paying if you are going to fade away from the Chiefs game? To me, this is the game. This is the total. This is the one where everything's going to hang loose because these guys are just going to let it rip. I just feel like I think this is going to be the fun one where the old guys, get off the rocking chair, walk down from the porch, and show you how it's done once again. I like this game. I got to tell you, and we'll talk more tomorrow about our thoughts on this game, but I kind of see this one having the total, and I want some pieces of this one. And Thomas allows you, I think, at a very good salary to kind of enter into it and also have Kamara in this and then turn around and then get some pieces on the other side because Leonard Fournette, 6,349. More likely going to play, I believe, this week as things, tending and trending in that direction. Chris Godwin, 7,500. That's a little bit of a discount where I'm from. Antonio Brown, 64 and 54. So Mike Evans, 71 and 64. So when you're approaching this, my ideal is to get Kamara and Fournette. My ideal is to, Godwin is still my guy in this offense. That's the one I'd be looking for. I'd be looking for Godwin, and I would be looking for Michael Thomas, and then have Brady. And then you can cheap out other spots. You can go cheap out on tight end somewhere. You can figure things out. We talked about some guys that are good investments already. They're a little cheaper. You could save some cash on. That's my approach. What's your approach to this game?
Well, real quick, I guess my approach to this game is going to be to buy Saints wide receivers. I love. I just think Michael Thomas is going to score. I think he's going to score again. And if you watch Jamal Dean last week, just on the struggle bus against Cam Sims, watch him against Manny Sanders, a veteran. So I think Manny could have a nice week as well. So that's a little bit. Deontay Harris had a good week last week as well, returning kicks, and they had a couple design plays to him. He had a decent week too. So I like Saints wideouts, but I like them because I don't know, man. I just think Brady picks them apart. I'm really into Evans this week. I'm really into to Antonio Brown at his price. Godwin is all these guys are buyable for sure. I think my favorite wide receiver in this game, though, is probably, and I hate to say it because I don't like him, but Antonio Brown at 54 and 64. Just because he's so unbelievably affordable on both these platforms. And I think he's definitely going to score a touchdown as well. So I'm big into AB. Kamara is definitely a buy. He's a buy every week. But who is the best? Who is your number one running back you're going to own on most of your teams this week, Joe? Because I think it's a tough question. Kamara's expensive.
Kamara is expensive, but it's doable. Here's how you get Kamara.
I love Dobbins, though. I think Dobbins is a great value against Buffalo.
Dobbins is a very good value. Akers is actually a pretty good value for getting again.
And I know you like Fournette too.
Fournette is a good value. See, I think you can get Kamara as long as you have Fournette in there. And then I think what you do is you take Gabriel Davis at 54. You maybe take another shot at, or if you don't like that, you take a shot on the big MVS play or something like that. There's ways to do it, and I think Gabriel Davis is one, MVS is one, John Brown could be one. It's that sort of a pivot on that wide receiver 3 that allows you to do it. It's not, I put together a few lines. It's not that hard to do, but I just get the feeling that if I'm going to be in on a game of these 4, Tampa and New Orleans is the one. They're familiar. Tom Brady's got something to prove, and if I'm going to pick a quarterback between the two guys, I'm going to go with the Brady side.
How about just the secondary wideouts? I know you said Gabe Davis, between like Gabe Davis, Rashard Higgins, Josh Reynolds, MVS, who else you want to throw DeMarcus Robinson in there as well? Which is your favorite one to buy?
Oh, sorry. Say that one more time.
Of like the secondary, the third option wide receivers.
The third option wide receivers.
Yeah. So like you just mentioned, MVS, Gabe Davis, maybe Willie Snead's in there. I
don't go down to the Willie Snead's of the world. See, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go with quarterback play. And what I'm do is I'm going to play the total of the Cleveland game and look for DeMarcus Robinson or look for Sammy Watkins or one of those guys. Again, these are the guys that are 5,100, 5,400. It's harder to do on FanDuel. On DK, you can do it because you're always going to get some of those cheap PPR wide receivers where you can make up ground. And that's something that, again, when you're playing site to site to keep in mind. And I think that's what you do. You go and you take a Robinson, you take a Watkins, or you take a Gabriel Davis, and that allows you to kind of play that. I don't want to do it on the Baltimore side because, again, I'm looking for I'm looking for better quarterback play than Lamar. And I'm not knocking Lamar. I'm just saying he's going to take the ball and run it too much. That he's going to take those opportunities away, whereas Mahomes is going to sling it. So if I'm going to go with somebody, I'm going to go with Mahomes. Josh Allen is going to sling it, especially with Zach Moss hurt too. Like they're running out of bodies there running back. And I think I
also tend to look at sometimes, look with the Rams, I'm more than willing to accept Jared Goff is not at 100%. You don't want to play Rams wideouts. I completely understand that. But teams that should be down, like I kind of like Higgins as a buy because I expect Cleveland to be losing and playing catch up. So Donovan Peoples-Jones had a decent week last week as well. They were missing Kadarius Hodge, obviously because of the COVID protocols too. So I like some of those buys as well. But playoff games play a little bit closer for the most part. So maybe it's just me looking at Higgins as a potential option too, if you're looking for a cheap wideout.
All right, there you have it. So get your lineups ready and get going. Make sure you got that LineStar app ready to go as well. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at LineStar app, at LineStar NFL. And of course, you can hit us up at Joe Pizapia 17 and Bogman Sports. That'll do it for us. Enjoy the games. We'll be back again tomorrow also too, if you like the wagering, to go through that. And we're going to do a little props tomorrow too, which we haven't done on the year because we're always so busy with all the games, but we're going to have a little fun because we only got 4 games to do. So we're going to go through those as well. So stick around with us. Subscribe to the PreSnap because we're fun. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. There's nothing left to do now except down, set, win.
You've been listening to the PreSnap Podcast brought to you by LineStar. Hit subscribe, drop a review, tell a friend, and stay tuned for the next episode from fantasy football experts Joe Pizapia and Scott Bogman.